Another thing is with whatever social media platform it is, coach your launch team to submit positive reviews. Number one, because your algorithms change the number of people that like and review your social media posts, but also it makes people more comfortable with your church when there's lots of positive reviews. And this is true after you launch as much as before you launch, but particularly when you launch because you're not a church that has a reputation yet. So if there's 7 people that say, hey, I ran into these people, they're great people. If someone is a little skeptical about whether they should investigate you more, some of those reviews are going to be the tipping point that they'll do it. We've got one of our church planters that takes at least one time a year, like Sean said, to have everyone pull out their phones and post a positive review about the church during their service that year. And he calls it introverted evangelism. He says, some of you aren't yet comfortable sharing your faith with other people, but someone might be in heaven because you post a positive review and allow someone to be comfortable to come to our church because of how much people love coming to this church online. And so I think that's a great skill that for all of us moving forward is you've got to ask people to do that periodically. And you got to be tricky for him. You got to be careful because like me, I can tell that they were all on one day because they usually have a timestamp on when they were posted. So I want them to be varied. Every month or two, there's people do that. But in launch team meetings, your 1 year anniversary, whatever, is say, hey, would you take out your phone and post why you love being part of this church? And also, there's lots of churches where the latest review was 7 years ago. And so that makes me wonder what's going on at that church. No one's reviewed it in 7 years. All right. So you got to make sure that you've got something within the last year that it says 2 months ago, so said this about your church. So that's really important. That's part of our new culture with social media is reviews and to think about that. And there's different ones. There's Facebook reviews. There are Google reviews. There are Yelp reviews. And so you've got to look at all the different review sites and try and get enough. And I asked myself the question, if I were looking at a church, how many reviews would there need to be for me to think, a lot of people like this church? And your answer may be different than mine, but that's the question I ask about any church. And for me, it's kind of like more than 20. If there's less than 10, I think no one's even reviewed this church. If there's 12 to 15, I think that's kind of nice. But man, if it's 20 or 30 or 40, I think, all right, there's people kind of like this church. And I don't know what your answer would be to that question. It's not a right or wrong answer, but that's the mentality that I had is I want to get enough positive reviews about my church on each of these sites so that when people go to them, they go, oh, other people like me like this church. Maybe I should stay interested in it.